Hey everyone, I'm Jake Harrington, and welcome to this week's episode of ENN. Today, we'll have the conclusion to Cadet Mendoza's Animated History segment and other on-campus updates and activities. All this and more on ENN.
Oh, Toledo!
Cadets Zhang and Jimenez interviewed the head of maintenance, CW, about his experience here at Riverside. Let's see what he had to say.
I was in a band, and the banjo player, he knew I was looking for a job, and he's like, "Hey, they got a spot at the maintenance shop open," and I was like, "Could you give me an interview?" He's like, "Sure." And that's pretty much just that. The first thing I noticed when I came to Riverside that I enjoyed seeing, I came from public school, and I enjoyed seeing young men able to take a group of another young men, and y'all could go do something. Have a leadership position, giving orders, and that I tell you that seeing that was an enjoyable part, and which made me kind of want to be here once I was here, made me want to stay here. And then honestly, I think everybody in maintenance to an extent. The enjoyable thing about being in maintenance is you're constantly helping people and getting things done for the things that they need done and taking care of the issues that they have. We enjoy fixing things, and so just our day-to-day operation is fun. I don't interact as much with the cadets as I used to. I used to be in the barracks working on locks, doing all the room stuff, and man, I would see, every one of y'all, it seemed like on a weekly basis and being in what felt like everybody's room on a weekly basis. Right now, it's just more of a support for us getting the team down here at the maintenance, and I'm help direct them into getting the work done that y'all need. And y'all have lots of maintenance requests and things throughout the barracks, so that's working through my guys. That's kind of where I directly interact with the cadets, but other than that, I don't get as much of a chance to directly interact with cadets anymore. Memorable time with a cadet is we have several cadets that came back over the years and helped us just after they graduated through the summer, and I tell you get to really know the cadet when we're in there painting for hours on end. They're in there talking their head off or singing. One of them, it shocked me how he got back onto old Don Williams country music. And he was this young kid and just didn't seem like country music was his thing. And it's like non-stop. That's all we listened to the whole summer was Don Williams and oldies countries, which I love country, but it was neat to really get to know the cadet and being able to spend that much time with them after they graduated. And because I knew them while they were here, but never in that just much detail. I think the stuff we overcome, honestly, is the year-to-year scheduling. I know it's not exactly what you're asking, but the summertime scheduling, we have camps in here. Y'all leave, we almost immediately get camps, and trying to get everything done before y'all get back. And each year it's different, so I would say that's actually the most thing to overcome, or we overcome every year, is just scheduling that and getting that done to a level that needs to be done, so once y'all return, everything's in ship-shape condition for y'all.
Now, let's turn it over to our sportsman, Cadet Lambert, for some updates.
Last week, the baseball team faced against Dawsonville, seeking for the first victory in the season. With a long and intense game, sadly, the boys did not come back with a win. They lost 13-17. This past Monday and Tuesday, they faced Pebblebrook back-to-back. Still not getting the first win of the season, they lost 1-19, and at the game on Tuesday, they lost 3-18. The soccer team had the first varsity game against Commerce. The team was motivated and got an easy win over Commerce with a 6-0 score. Thursday, the varsity and JV faced against Flowery Branch. The JV was looking for the first win of the season. Sadly, they lost 1-0. Varsity came in strong against Flowery Branch, with the first half being 2-2. Sadly, the second half, Flowery would step up and beat the Eagles 5-2. The Rifle team had a great season so far, with the boys now making it to state playoffs. We wish you the best of luck and hope you come back with a victory. That is all for your sports. Lambert signing out.
Now we go to the final episode of Cadet Mendoza's Gainesville History with an interview with Massar and Bagwell. So let's see what they learned from Riverside's past.
After the Second World War ended, General Sandy Beaver sidelined all the military stuff and started to reopen the school as an actual school where cadets could learn. And many families took advantage of this opportunity, including families that came from other nations. But as this was going on, the Soviet Union was advancing, and the US needed an idea to help combat Soviet influence. So in 1949, they created NATO to combat Soviet influence growing in Eastern Europe.
In my generation, we were worried that the war could end our existence at any day. And that fear continued all the way into through the 50s, 60s, 70s, and even into the 80s.
But in Southeast Asia, Vietnam was currently fighting in internal conflicts against the US-supported South Vietnam. So the Americans went to protect their Asian allies from communism. But the US troops were completely clueless about the enemy they were fighting, and that hurts them severely.
If you look at war movies that were made by Hollywood prior to the Vietnam War, they were sort of clean and sanitized, and the good guys always won. Being televised showed what war really had always looked like, but it was the first time it was being beamed into the living room every night.
Since Riverside was a military academy at the time, they got hit by a lot of protests when the Vietnam War was happening. And this happened while Sandy Beaver was around and even after his death in 1969. This caused the attendance and popularity to drop drastically during the war.
There's a lot of revisionist history out there, but the short answer for me is Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan engaged the Soviet Union in an arms race. He forced them to compete with us at a time that their economy could not afford to compete with us. We could have guns and butter. When they chose guns at the expense of butter, their economy collapsed.
Even while all this was happening, Riverside Military Academy was still dedicated to the premise it was founded on, instilling values like discipline, loyalty, brotherhood, and focus, with the main idea of bringing out the best in a young man for the betterment of their life, and spreading their knowledge not just throughout the nation, but across the globe, to keep the standard of a gentleman, to give everybody an equal chance, no matter what background they have.
That's going to wrap up today's episode of ENN. Remember to tune in next time for some more exciting news and updates about Riverside. I've been your host, Jake Harrington. Have a good day, Eagles.